Hare Krishna. Welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. We're so glad you've joined us here in the live studio audience, and also to those who have joined online from various places around the world. Hare Krishna. We're lucky to be here in this time and place because although somehow or other we landed in the material world, we've gotten the good association of Vaishnavas. For us, headed by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to whom I offer my humble obeisances, my divine eternal spiritual master, and to all those spiritual masters who came before, and to all the present Vaishnavas who are walking the earth today and who are present here today and online, I offer my obeisances. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, very famous verses announcing the importance of human life. Labvam sadurlabam bidam bahusam bhavante manushamartadam anityam pihadhira. That is very rare to get human life. Out of all the 8,400,000 species of life, the human life is especially important because from human life you can inquire and ask, what's the purpose? And you can understand the absolute truth by the process of bhakti yoga and by hearing from devotees. So in this short duration of life, says the Bhagavatam, it's a temporary lifetime, you can make great advancement just by taking the process of devotional service. And the most important aspect of devotional service is hearing. As by deliberately hearing transcendental sound vibration, one begins to imbibe the teachings of the Lord. Hare Krishna. And also, because the sound vibration is not different from Krishna, it begins to transform one's heart. This is mentioned, Pravishtakarna Randrena Swanambhavam Saroruham Dunoti Salilam Krishna Salilasya Yatasharat. What a beautiful verse. It's poetical. It says that when one hears the Srimad Bhagavatam, it enters the ears and then the heart, and then it establishes the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's own heart and reawakens one's loving relationship with the Supreme. And this is the vision of Srila Prabhupada as he's coming on the Jaladuta to America. He's seeing how people are suffering in ignorance, but that the Srimad Bhagavatam would awaken their love for Krishna and their remembrance of him. Not in that order. So, taking time every day to hear about Krishna is the true panacea, the solution to all the different problems in life. And Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita does mention that the material world is troublesome for us because we're permanent beings. We've always existed and we always will exist. We're eternal. But there's a way in which the material nature is always changing. He mentions, does Krishna, bhutva bhutva praliyate. It's manifested and then it's destroyed and then it's created again. In fact, from the position of the heavenly planets, living entities witness the partial destruction of the universe. Every day of Brahma, at the end of the day, at the nighttime, there's a partial devastation. The universe gets destroyed and recreated again. Those who aren't high enough in the universe have to take a flight to go to the higher planets at that time. And even from the highest planet, Lord Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvana luka punar avartino arjuna mamupetya tu konteya punar janma navidyate. The repeated birth and death takes place from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. because Brahma has a life duration of 100 years of his own time, which for us is about 311 trillion years compared to his 100. That's a long lifespan for us. But recently, I had a discussion with somebody who we had been observing some bug, and somebody asked me, what's the life duration of a fly? Because there was a fly moving around. And I just took a wild guess. I said probably about 28 days. And the person looked it up and said, it's 24. You were really close. And then we were both thinking, wow, 24, that's not very many days. Or that's not a long time. But to the fly, it's a long time. And then I mentioned to this person about how in India, during the autumn season, there's Diwali germs. And I see them appear in the late afternoon. It's around Kartik time. They congregate around the light fixtures. And then in the morning, they're all dead. So their perspective is, at least I imagine their perspective is that there's some kind of light and it dies down really fast, and then they're dead. But to them, that's a whole lifetime, and they have their whole life cycle within that very brief period of time. And someone might think, well, that's not very long. But to Brahma, ours is less than a Diwali germ. However, I'm thinking that it's long, significant, and maybe I'm thinking I'll live forever. Prabhupada said that a transcendentalist is one who's aware of the fact that I can leave today or tomorrow, and a materialist is someone who thinks I'll live for millions of years. So this is related to the verse, Labvam sadurlamabidam bahusambhavante manusham artanam anityam. Anityam means it's not permanent, it's not nityam. So that's why it seems incompatible to us. As spiritual souls, we live eternally, and this environment seems altogether too fleeting and changeable. So Krishna says, learn to tolerate the changes and don't be disturbed by them. They're only coming and going because that's what the material nature does, and we're simply observing from our point of view as eternal spiritual souls. But even though it's a nityam, it's artadam. It's full of value, the human life. One can get the greatest value out of it by taking to the process of devotional service. Labvam means you've got it. Sudurlabham, and it's very difficult to get. Labvam sudurlabham, and sambhavante means after many lifetimes. Bahu sambhavante. Manusham artanam nityam apihadira. Turnam yateta napated anumritya yavan nashreyasai vishaya kaloi sarvata syat. This last part mentions that don't waste it. Take full advantage. Vishaya vita. Don't try to imitate the animals and think that happiness comes from just getting sense gratification, because if the animals can get it, it's not very valuable. What's valuable is taking advantage of human life for spiritual advancement. This is something also Narada Muni mentions when he says that you shouldn't try to pursue that which is already going on in the material world. Don't chase after it. Rather, look for spiritual advancement. So he says that tasyaiva hetu prayateta kovido nalabhyate yad brahmatambu parida nalabhyate dukkha varanyata sukham Kalena sarvatra gabira ramhasa. Don't chase after the obvious things. You're already wandering in the material world. And don't try to avoid suffering so much because it comes of its own accord. And don't try to bring more material happiness because it comes of its own accord also. It's already fixed up. A certain amount of happiness, a certain amount of distress. But do try for spiritual advancement. This is something that is made much of in the Bhagavatam, that within a short amount of time you can make significant advancement. Which name comes to your mind when you think of the person most famous in the Bhagavatam for taking advantage of spiritual life in the shortest amount of time possible? Who? Parikshit Maharaj. Yes, he's one of them, but he wouldn't be the winner as far as the shortest amount of time. Ajamil is also a contender, but not the winner. You got it almost. Yeah, who is that? Katvanga. Katvanga was a great king and warrior who was asked by the demigods to help them fight against the demons. So he went to the higher planets and he fought for some time. And then they offered him a benediction. And he said, the only benediction, I just want to know when I'm going to leave my body. And they said, you got about a minute. And within that moment, he took full shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's famous for that, having attained success within a moment. Of course, it's also not recommended that one then say, well, I'll just wait till the end. Because Prahlad Maharaj warns against this. He says that from the time that one is just a little child, Komara acharet pragno dharmam bhagavatan miha durlabham manusham janma tarapya dhruvam artadam. Again, adruvam, you know what dhruva means? Dhruva, fixed. Something's fixed. So adruva means what? Not fixed, yeah. So he says this lifetime is adruva, means it's not fixed up. You don't know when it can slide off anytime. It can go. So then what you have is this verse, Komara acharet pragno dharmam bhagavatam iha. So he says from the tender age of childhood, one should try for this and cultivate it. And because, human life is not fixed, it can go at any time. So then this morning, I heard Prabhupada speaking about this topic, and he said that it's not that at the time of death you get to go, you get to choose your next body. He said it's chosen by committee. He said just like you go before a professional committee and they decide whether you get in or you don't get in. You know about that. You just got into Harvard? Well, they'll be lucky if they get you. So they have a committee in these professional venues decides, does the person come in? Where should they be situated? Oh, no, you can't come in, and so forth. Just like universities. They choose who they want. They send you a letter, you can come in, or no, sorry, you can't come. Same way, at the time of death, others choose for us. This is chosen by Daiva Netrena, by higher authority, it's chosen. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is saying that while you have the opportunity now that you're young, so use every part of your life to build up your resume so that when you leave, you've got a thick portfolio. What kind of extracurricular activities? Well, we did book distribution during spring break. And Prabhupada mentioned once, he said, Krishna, the time when you leave the body, he'll say, you dedicated your whole life to my service. You followed 4 regulative principles for me. You chanted 16 rounds for me. Back home, back to Godhead. Vayuranilam amritam atedam bashmantam shariram om kratos smara kritam smara kratos smara kritam smara. Let this temporary body be burned to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. So the devotee leaving this world only has one cherished thought, and that is, whatever contribution I've made to devotional service is important. So this could become our main value in life. That's how am I dedicating. Now, the other side of our life that's practical, called vyavaharika, means we have to also take care of our body, our families, and so forth. And this requires some methodology, which can be learned, like how do I take care of myself? And the Bhagavatam says, try to simplify that. Don't make it overly cumbersome by adding more and more to it, because this becomes a glorified animal life. The eating, sleeping, mating, defending, even in studies of society, there's a way in which after you get to a certain point of opulence, you're not enjoying anymore. You're just dealing with the same house, the same vehicle, just in your mind you're thinking it's a little fancier. Just like if you drink, let's say, grapefruit juice, you can have it in 3 vessels. You could have it in gold, you could have it in silver, or you could have it in, I'm not going to say brass, because you shouldn't put grapefruit juice in brass, I don't think. So we'll say you put it in a stone bowl. They may have different values, the cups, but the taste is the same and the beverage is the same. So our human life is like that. The activities, we may have the trappings externally may appear to be improved, but still the essence of one's life is the same. And so one should make that essence a dedication to hearing about Krishna. And that's the prime advice that Rupa Goswami gives in the Upadeshamrita. And Bharat Prabhu will tell us the verse. We could still use the mics, right? Here's a mic. There's a mic. There you go. The cream of all advice given by Rupa Goswami.
Tannama rupa charitadisu kirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyoja
Raje
tananuragi jananugami kalan naita ilame dupadesha sar.
Well done. Excellent. Very good. And the verse means? Yes?
I don't remember all of it, but I know the beginning. It says this: the essence of one's life is so that one can utilize all of one's time in transcendental activities such as chanting Krishna's names.
Very good. Yeah. So Tannama Rupa Charitadi means hearing, chanting, etc. All the activities, charita adi, of devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Right? So kirtananu, smrityo kramena, and then by steps, one will make advancement. Kramena means step by step. If you take this process of hearing and chanting, then kramena rasana manasi niyoja, gradually you'll begin to develop a taste for hearing and chanting using your tongue. And then niyoja tishtan vraje tananuragi jananugami. You'll become situated in Vrindavan. You can transfer yourself by the process of hearing, chanting, etc. And therefore, Rupa Goswami says this is the essence of advice. Upadesha saram. Saram means cream. And upadesh means? Yeah. Instruction or advice. So The Upadeshamrita means what? Nectar of instruction, yeah. And then the Upadeshasaram means the cream of the instruction. So you've got the nectar of instruction, then with the cream of that is to organize around this principle of hearing and chanting. And then, step by step, everything will unfold in your life through hearing the transcendental sound and staying in contact with that. Then you become situated in spiritual life proper. You go to Vrindavan by hearing about Krishna. So that can be done. And that's the essence, because someone might want to know, well, what should I do to actually make spiritual advancement? And this is the essence of the advice, organized around this principle. So there are ways in which great advanced devotees have given a system through which one can organize one's life on a daily level. Because there may be a way in which now I understand that I'm supposed to hear and chant, but I might feel overwhelmed by the waves of the movements of the world, the way that I have to be involved in work, and there's so many duties I have to attend to. And these may overwhelm me, and then I may forget to hear and chant. Is that possible? Yeah, so there's a system through which one can become fixed up in the process of hearing and chanting, so that that one doesn't lose the thread. And part of that is called the Pancharatric system, through which one stays connected to Krishna through worshiping the deity. And when you take up the Pancharatric system of life, you're following the instructions given mostly by Narada Muni, who teaches how to wake up in the morning and begin by saying a prayer. It's the first thing when you wake up. And then taking bath, cleansing the body, taking bath, and then entering into the temple, ring the bell, offer obeisances, then sing songs, clap your hands, dance, take Charnamrita, hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's more Bhagavat Marg. But there are many, many activities, and these become the ingrained habits of a person who's in devotional service, both hearing and also coming to see the deity. Sometimes we go to see deities in other places, like where? Laguna Beach. You might go to see the Panchatattva there. Where else? You might go to Mayapur. You might go to Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, you can walk around and you can go see Radha Madan Mohan. You can go see Govinda, Gopinath, the three main deities of Vrindavan. And then smell the flowers. You can go to Govardhan. So they're unlimited. What else? Go see Jagannath and Jagannath Puri. So it's a practical life of seeing the Lord, hearing and chanting about Him, and you can also become qualified to perform worship for the deity also. So this lifestyle combined with hearing and chanting helps to keep one on a course that one could keep up with throughout one's very short lifetime, and then develop devotional qualities by the practice of devotional service, including a deep attraction for chanting the holy name, a deep attraction for worshiping the deity, for hearing about Krishna and so forth. And then after a lifetime of this practice, when one leaves this world, there's a way in which that one's transferred from this Silicon Valley, or wherever you may be, to a place in the universe where Krishna is performing his pastimes. And you'll be born into that situation where Krishna's already there. And then you can continue your practice of devotional service under the instruction of devotees. And then from there, you can be transferred to the eternal spiritual world. So what do you think, Bharat? Is that a good idea? Give 2 thumbs up. Lord Nityananda used to do that. How is everybody today? Super good and getting better? Outstanding and still improving? Okay, good. Would you like to chant a little bit? Okay. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Srimate. I just don't want it on camera. Looks like someone messed it up. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Nice chanting, nice chanting. I'm going to have to ask you to call out these mantras for the benefit of all the people of the world. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Gadadhar Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everybody. A little louder. Jai Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everybody at home, chant really loud so we can hear you all the way over here. Got to keep the holy name going. Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Tai Gaura Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Harinam Mahamantra Ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki. Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. So, we're continuing our reading of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And here we find, in the Adi Lila, just chapter 4, Adi Lila, chapter 4, the confidential reasons for the Lord's appearance, taking up at text number 27 and 28. E Shudha Bhakta Loy Karimu Avatar. Kariba Vividha Vidha Adbhuta Vihar. Vaikunt Yade Nahi JJ Lilar Prachar. She Lila Kariba Jate Mora Chamatkar. You might be wondering what the word meanings are to this, so we can read them out loud. These Shuddha Bhakta, pure devotees, lie, taking, Karimu, I shall make, avatar, incarnation, Kariba, I shall do, Vividha, Vidha, various kinds, Adbhuta, wonderful, Vihar, pastimes, Vaikuntha Ade, in the Vaikuntha planets, etc. Nahi, not, JJ, whatever, Lilar, of the pastimes, Prachar, broadcasting, Sheshe, those, means thank you in Mandarin, Lila, pastimes, Kariba, I shall perform, Jate, in which, more, my, chamatkar, a wonder. Translation, taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, even unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. Please repeat. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. So let's look at the verse again in the Bengali. E Shuddha Bhakta. What does that mean? Yes, the Shuddha Bhaktas. So a Shuddha Bhakta is somebody that is no longer connected to the material world. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the author says, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. And he mentions that this book is meant for those who are non-envious. Who is that who is envious? Okay, 157 people online. People get more online now. We want over 200. So if you're online now, text a friend and tell them to get on, because if in about 20 minutes there's not 200 people on, I'm going to get really morose. More people online. Call your friends and tell them, check in. Okay, so E Shuddha Bhakta. So the Shuddha Bhaktas are those who are not envious. They're not touched by the modes of material nature. They're nirmatsaranam, no longer affected by envy. Those who are born into the material nature and connected to the material nature through the chitta, the connection the soul has to the material nature, means the soul gets embedded in a material body, has a mind and intelligence, and of course physical body with working senses and knowledge gathering senses, and then there's a false ego. And the ego connects to the external world. And through that medium, one thinks, I am my body. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a cat, I'm a dog, I'm an American, and so forth. And then one, through the agency of the mind, tries to enjoy the objects of the senses in this world. And this phenomenon, which carries one from one body to the next in the material world, is known as samsara, and those born into the material nature, Krishna says, Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Gita. So you can look in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 7. Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata. Bring me one too, please. Dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Text number 27. He says, does Krishna, O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. Thank you. And Prabhupada writes in his purport, the real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by the illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees, otherwise known as Shuddha Bhaktas, pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate, can understand that Lord Sri Krishna appears by his internal potencies, but those who are deluded by duality and nations think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by material energies. This is their misfortune. Such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc., thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I am the master of this house, I am the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So again, let's visit this verse. It's 727, and we'll look at the words icha, desire, dvesha, and hate, samutena, arisen from dvandva, of duality, mohena, by the illusion, bharata, O scion of Bharata, sarva, all, bhutani, living entities, sammoham, into delusion, sarge, while taking birth, yanti, go, paramtapa, O conqueror of enemies. So the translation again, O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. So a Shuddha Bhakta is not under the spell of desire and hate. Doesn't see duality. We can visit this description, another description of this kind of consciousness in the Sri Upanishad. If we go to the Sri Upanishads number 6 and 7, we'll find two important verses which describe those who are beyond the dualities of desire and hate. Siddhanta is calling. And we find here, Yastu sarvani bhutani atman yevanupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tatuna vijagupsate. And the translation is, he who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. No dvesha, no hatred. And the icha, that's also gone. Because, as mentioned, for someone who rises above the three modes of material nature, There's a way in which Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kanchati. There's no hankering and there's no lamentation in that situation. So he who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. So the Shuddha Bhaktas are those who are no longer subject to the duality of this world. And we look at number 7. Next verse says, Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaivad budvijanataha tatrako mohakashoka ekatvam anupashyataha, which means one who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks and quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? There are many descriptions of the nature of the Shuddha Bhaktas. They're pure. They're not contaminated by their connection to the material world at all. And some of them come directly from the spiritual world with Krishna when he appears. You can go back to our verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some of them, through their practice of sadhana here in this material world, they become purified, Shuddha Bhaktas. And some, by the mercy of the Lord, they also become purified. So these are known as sadhana siddhas. Well, let's start with nitya siddhas. They're eternally perfect. They're always in the spiritual world, and they sometimes descend here along with the Lord in order to assist him. Then there's the sadhana siddhas. Who are they? Sadhana siddha. What does siddha mean? Siddha. Huh? Perfect. And what does sadhana mean? Yes. They became perfect through practice. And so Prabhupada mentioned once, he said, Nitya Siddha or Sadhana Siddha. Once you're a Siddha, you're a Siddha. It doesn't really matter how you got there. And then there's Kripa Siddha. You tell me what a Kripa Siddha is. Huh? By the mercy of the spiritual master, by the Supreme Lord, becomes perfect by that special arrangement of a pure devotee or the Lord. So, A Shuddha Bhakta. So these are Shuddha Bhaktas. They come with the Lord. Lai Karimu Avatar. So let's see. A Shuddha Bhakta. Lai, taking Karimu, down. Karimu, I shall make avatar incarnation. So the Lord is saying, I'm going to make my incarnation, but does he come alone? That was a leading question, leading the witness. No, he doesn't come alone. Who does he come with? Shuddha Bhaktas. And so this is an important point. Krishna never goes anywhere alone. When he comes as Lord Chaitanya, he arranges for his Shuddha Bhaktas to also take birth in the same area where he's going to make his avatar. Did Krishna do that too? Yes. Who did he tell to come down and assist him? Yes. He told demigods, he told all his associates they should come down and assist me. This is called Tat Priyartam. They all come down so he can do his lila amidst all his devotees. So a little further up again, please. Thank you. Kariba Vivida Vidha Adbhuta Vihar. Now you're going to have to work with me. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. So we have that he makes his avatar, taking with him all of his associates, his pure devotees, right? Kariba, I shall do Vivida Vidha, various kinds, Adbhuta, wonderful Vihar pastimes. So Kariba Vivida Vidha Adbhuta Vihar. So he said, I'll descend with my pure devotees and I will perform wonderful pastimes. Adbhuta. They'll be mind-boggling. Vaikuntyade. So Vaikunta Adye means in the Vaikunta planets, etc. Nahi. Not. Ye, whatever, lila prachar. Sheshe, those lila pastimes, kariba, I shall perform, jate, in which, keep going, down, more my chamatkar wonder. And the rest of the translation says, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. So this is something we visited when we looked at the first section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in which Krishna was thinking, Anarpita charim chirat karunavayatirna kalau samaparitum unatojvala rasam sapakti shriyam hari purata sundara duti kadamba sandipita sadaraya kandare spuratu va sachinandanaha. That Krishna is thinking that I haven't given this kind of information for a long time. And he wants to give to the people of the world the opportunity to know about something that's not even known in Vaikuntha. And that is his pastimes that are so amazing that even he's amazed to see them. The Krishna is amazed at his own pastimes. Once when Krishna went to the forest with all his cowherd boyfriends, he woke them up early in the morning with his buffalo horn. His buffalo horn is known as Mandragosh, which means rolling thunder. So Krishna wanted all his friends to come with him to the forest because, as we can see, it's more fun the more people there are, the more fun it is. So Krishna, he has an arbhuta of friends that he comes with. You can't even count that high. And they all come out from their houses and they bring all their calves with them. And they all have all their paraphernalia for herding the calves. Can you imagine the sound of all the boys coming out and all the calves? And there they are going off into the forest, and then they begin to play games. So one boy will steal a lunch packet, and they all have lunch packets because around Krishna, everyone's always bringing tasty things to eat. Their mothers pack them at home, and Krishna has something that Mother Yashoda packs for him. And so they have lunch packets. They're going to the forest with their calves. I mean, that's fun, being off with your friends in the forest, just herding the calves. So they start to play because they're kids. And one of them will steal another's lunch packet and throw it to another. And then when the boy who finds out that his lunch packet has been stolen, he turns around and he looks, who took my packet? He runs to get his packet back, and the boy who received it throws it to another. And then the boy runs after that, and he throws it to another. And then just before he starts crying, they give it back to him. And then they see monkeys in the trees, and they start imitating the monkeys. And they see birds, and they imitate. They find a well with no water in it, and they yell down the well, and the echo comes back, and then they say dirty words to that person who just spoke to them from the bottom of the well. In this way, whimsically, they go through the forest, and then they have a game, who can touch Krishna first. And one says, I'll touch Krishna first. And the other says, no, I'll touch Krishna first. And they start running after Krishna to see who could touch Krishna first. And in this playing mood, suddenly they see in the middle of the pathway a huge python. And some of them think that it's not real, and others argue that it is real. And it's hard to tell because it's so big that the bottom of the lip is touching the path, and the top is touching the clouds in the sky. And even the cavities on both sides of the mouth of the serpent look like big caves. And there's a kind of wind coming out from the belly of this beast with a bad fishy smell. And some of the boys get afraid and they want to run away. And others say, well, listen, Krishna's here, and he's protected us from Bakasura and so many other dangerous situations. So let's just go right into the belly of the beast. And then Krishna, from a distance, is watching his friends and thinking, don't go in there. That's a demon. He's waiting to devour me. And the boys, laughing and clapping, turn around and they look at the beautiful face of Krishna watching them, and they merrily march into the belly of Aghasura. And Krishna is amazed at how his energies are working. Adbhuta. So how wonderful are my energies, how they're working like this. So Krishna is endlessly entertained by his own energies. In fact, so much so that we know that the reason that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advents in this world is to figure out how it is that Radharani, who's his primary Shakti, the manifestation of Hladini Shakti, his Shakti of enjoyment, has so much enjoyment by regarding Krishna, by looking at Krishna, by worshiping Krishna, remembering Krishna. And he looks in the mirror and he thinks, I can't get the same kind of enjoyment that Krishna is getting. Please, welcome. We're open to everyone who can figure out how to get in here. Otherwise, we're online. And thank you, everyone, for joining us online. And we're going to take a census in a minute to see if we're over 200. Otherwise, we're going to have to stop the broadcast. So call your friends. He looks in the mirror and he thinks, what is it that Srimati Radharani sees in me, through which she gets so much enjoyment? And he's amazed that there's something secret that she sees that I can't see. And therefore, that's one of the reasons he comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood, Krishna in the mood of Radharani, so that he can taste his own sweetness. So in this way, we notice that Krishna's intrigued by his own energies. It's not that because they're his energies, they're not amazing to him. They're utterly amazing to him at every minute, and he's deriving enjoyment from them, and so are his devotees. And there's a competition between the two. As the devotees try to serve Krishna more, and Krishna tries to reciprocate with his devotees, it's ever increasing in their exchange. So, after I should finish the saga of Krishna going into the mouth, he follows his boyfriends into the mouth of Aghasura. Aghasura then thinks, I've got him. But he doesn't know the power of Krishna. Krishna's body is described by Lord Brahma. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. Govinda is medium size. However, he's everywhere simultaneously. And every one of his senses is interchangeable. He can see with his hands. He can smell with his knees. He can speak with his eyes. Does he ever do that in his Leela in Vrindavan? You can say yes, because he does. When? Yes, and he saves the boys from the forest fire and speaks from his eyes also. So there's an interchangeableness throughout Krishna's body, and his body is the source of all other energies, all other avatars, every other manifestation comes from Govinda. He's the original source of everything. So this is not an ordinary personality walking into the mouth of Aghasura. It's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, some of the demigods are amazed because they know who Krishna is, and they're thinking that yogis, they spend lifetimes meditating, drilling the respiration in order to try to see the Paramatma, but still they remain so far away. They can only see the tips of the toes of the Lord. But here's Aghasura, and he's a demon, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all Paramatma, he just put his lotus feet in the mouth of Aghasura. Now, Aghasura closes his mouth, and now Krishna expands the size of his body. As it gets bigger, Aghasura starts to choke. And as he chokes, he gives up his mortal frame, and he pops out the top of his head. You feel up here, there's a soft space, Bharat. Yogis can pop out the top of their head there. The soul can jump out there. You can see it in the Bhagavad Gita. Here, let's show you an example of what I'm talking about. Here you go. What is your profession? You're what? This guy used to be a product manager. He's popping out the top of his head. So similarly, Aghasura went out the top of his head, and he hovered in the sky. there was an effulgence from the soul of Aghasura. Then the mouth opened, Krishna glanced upon all the calves and the cowherd boys and brought them back to life. Then they all marched out of the mouth of Aghasura, and just when they came out, the soul of Aghasura entered within Krishna's transcendental body for all to see. Everyone saw it. So Krishna is performing pastimes that are always amazing even to him. He's watching how his Leela Shakti is working and arranging for the pastimes, and he becomes amazed and enthralled. And we see here that he's descending to sport. It's all sport. Sport means there's no work. Even in Vaikuntha, there's a description that there are airplanes flying back and forth, like there are now. They're all empty. They just have to keep them going, otherwise they lose their route, and airplanes don't like to sit around. They have to keep moving, so the airplanes are flying back and forth. But everyone's eager to get back to work. They want to go, and they want to go to conventions and seminars and go show people new products. But in Vaikuntha, nobody works. Permanent day off. And all the planes are for pleasure trips only. Nobody's going for business. There's no mail drops or anything like that. They're all going for pleasure. In the spiritual world, every word is a song. Everyone's singing out of joy. And every gate is a dance. They're dancing. They hear the flute song in the Goloka Vrindavan planet. And so people don't know about this. So Krishna comes down to sport, and he plays with his pure devotees in wonderful pastimes, and he shows the loving exchanges that he has with his devotees. This is noted by Shukadeva Goswami in describing the story of Aghasura, when he says, Idam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam naradarakena maya shitanam naradarakena. Sorry, I blew that. Let me start over. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutya idam satam brahma sukhanubhutya sakam vrijaru krita punya punja idam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam katanam paradaivatena mayashritanam naradarakena sakam vrijaru krita punya punja. What a beautiful verse it is. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutyam dasyam katanam paradaivatena mayashritanam naradarakena sakam vrijaru krita punya punja. So these verses, we'd hear Prabhupada speak them. We'd never heard such things before. This is what he came on the Jaladuta. He wanted people to hear this vibration. And we were hearing, he'd go, Sakam Vrijaru Krita Punya Punja. He was enjoying it. He was relishing as the sound vibration was rolling off his tongue. This vibration was hitting the devotees, whether they were hippies or businessmen or young kids. The vibration rolled off from his tongue, coming from the lotus of his heart and his relationship with Krishna. And then everyone was waking up to the pastimes of Krishna. And this was Krishna's intention, why he came down. Taking these pure devotees with me, all his associates who he plays with all day long, he sports with them. I shall descend, which means avatar. Avatar means he's coming from a higher position down to a lower. And he comes just to save us from the material world, because he wants us to come back to the spiritual world and just play all day long. Is that a bad idea, or what do you think? Do you like it? There's no birth, there's no death, there's no old age, and there's no disease in the spiritual world. That's a thing in the material world. That's the reflection of the spiritual world that's full of anomalies. So that's why he comes. I shall descend. He comes down and sport in various wonderful ways. The varieties of the ways in which he sports are unlimited. And every day, the pastime he repeats, and it goes on eternally, and it's always slight variation, unknown even in Vaikuntha. So this is an important part. Dasyam katanam paradaivatena. In Vaikuntha, people only know about a smaller spectrum of relationship with the Lord. And it's very nice. You see it, it feels nice. You go to South India, and you can go see the Lord of Vaikuntha, and there's a mood of servitude, dasyam, gatanam, paradaivatena. They see the Supreme Personality of God as the supreme controller of everything, and they worship Him in the mood of servitude. And there's reverence there, that they're aware this is God. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha, means Vaikuntha adye nahi. They don't know, jj whatever, lilara. They've never seen this kind of lila before. It's not even in Vaikuntha. You won't find it there. So he says, that I'm going to perform, and it's going to be chamatkar. What does chamatkar mean? It's used all throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You'll find it. Chamatkar. It's just wondrous. It's just amazing. You see the thing and you go, I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. And so that's what's unfolding in the Lord's sporting pastimes when He comes to the world, from the moment that He appears and to the moment He leaves. And that these pastimes are eternal. And then they're there in the Holy Dham. They're going on eternally. They're there within the hearts of the devotees who hear about them. They witness them themselves. And they're constantly thinking about them within their hearts. They're amazed by them. Well, externally, the devotees are performing all their duties very carefully in devotional service. Inside, they're spontaneously worshiping Krishna and His sporting pastimes that they've heard about in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he says, I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. So prachar means broadcasting. So that's one of the reasons that Krishna came. Isn't that nice? He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has his own reasons, but externally he's thinking, I have to broadcast it. People have to know about this. They're wasting away in the material world. Being, as Brahma says in his prayers. Can you find that section? Brahma's prayers where he's lamenting for the living entities, how they're being blasted by the heat of the summer and freezing in the cold winter. Prayers by Lord, you can find it, Blasting Summers. We'll look it up and see which chapter it is. There, even Brahma, from his vantage point in Brahma Loka, which is described in the Bhagavatam, it's almost like Vaikuntha. You can barely tell the difference because it's so high up in the material world. But to speak of the spiritual world. But from there, Brahma's feeling sorry for the sufferings of the living entities in the material world. What is it? 3, 9, 8. Look at this. See how the devotees who are separated from the sufferings of the material world, he says, Shut trit, trida tubir, ima mahur, ardyamana. Everyone. Shut trit. Shit noshnavata varashar itare tarachcha. Kamagnina chutarushacha sudur barina. Sampashyato mana urukrama siddhate me. See, this is real life, sitting around in a circle and picking out different choice verses from the Bhagavatam, isn't it? Are you happy? Yes. You're darn right you are. Look at this. Oh, great actor. Bharat, can you get me water? I got to drink water. Thank you. Oh, great actor, my Lord. All these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion, and bile, attacked by coughing winter, blasting summer, rains, and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong indefatigable anger. I take pity on them, and am very much aggrieved for them. So Brahma's thinking like that. And the Lord comes down to alleviate our sufferings by showing us sporting pastimes and saying, hey, you don't have to hang out here in the material world. Don't stay here. Come with my program. When Rupa and Sanatan Goswami saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing, here he is, a sannyasi. They're billionaires. They got all the prestige in the world, and they just said, Chak Faturna Mashesha Mandalapati. We quit. This is horrible, the material world. Doesn't matter how much facility you get here. It's horrible compared to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. He saw them and said, we're joining. We're going with him. This is exciting. This is beautiful. It's adbhuta. It's wonderful. So back to our verse. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. And here's the purport. Lord Krishna, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, educates his devotees to develop progressively to the stage. We're getting there, 193. Devotees, 193. We need 7 more to get to 200. We're going to go on a silent strike in just a few minutes. Please, everybody who's on there, call somebody, text somebody, put it on Facebook, tell them to get on this call. We're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. We want you here. We need to feel your energy. We can feel you out there. It's really important to us. Please, join in. And if you have more than one person who's watching, wherever you are, text in, and Mukharavinda will let us know that there's multiple people that put us over the 200 mark. Okay? Everyone who thinks that's a good idea, say Hare Krishna. I'm not convinced. The world needs now is more loud Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Everybody at home, please say Hare Krishna. Everybody online, please text in Hare Krishna. Text in one Hare Krishna, please. Quick. Okay, so Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, educates his devotees to develop progressively to the stage of pure devotional service. So not only does he come and he shows his sporting pastimes, but he teaches his devotees, he educates them to develop progressively to the stage of pure devotional service. Thus, he appears periodically as a devotee to take part in various wonderful activities depicted in his sublime philosophy and teachings. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and in all of them the Lord accepts the service rendered by his eternal devotees as in a reverential mood. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna presents his most confidential pastimes as he enjoys them in his transcendental realm. Such pastimes are so attractive that they attract even the Lord, and thus he relishes them in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Thank you. That was thoughtful. Thank you. So now we'll take any questions or reflections, and you can text in. Did anybody text in Hare Krishna? Who texted in Hare Krishna? Let's name them.
We have many people. Amit Prabhu.
Amit.
Syamlangi Mataji, Vaikuntha Nayak.
Shamalangi. Who else?
Vaikuntha Nayak Prabhu.
Vaikuntha Nayaka, all the way from South India.
And then we have Radhika Nam and
Radhika Nam.
And Anand Murari. Radhika Nam and Madan Murari Prabhu.
Madan Murari. Hearing the names of these exalted
Ankit
devotees,
Vora.
I'm to feel
I'm
some
not able to
happiness.
keep up. There are so many messages coming.
Hare Krishna.
So
More Hare Krishna. Everybody Hare Krishna. The only lack in the world is lack of the
Balimardan Prabhu.
Balimardan Prabhu. The Balimardan?
Yes.
Our Balimardan Prabhu?
Okay, Ankit Vora.
Unkid.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Okay.
we have some question.
Okay, we have a question. We'll take it. Who else? Okay, there's more on Facebook. Devotees, let's come together. We have to spread Hare Krishna. Okay, what else you got? Question.
Yeah, question. 1 minute, I missed question. Where is?
We have Annamaya, so many of them, sorry. Vamshuli Das, Mantra Siddhi, Harit Narendra, Sundarya Vardhini Devidasi, Amay Atmadas, Vamshuli, Lilanandini, Harsha Kutiyar, Bhakti Leela, Divyangi, Mother Nirkula is there too, watching us.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Prakash Prabhu, Bhumika Patel.
Oh,
Yeah, there are more. Keep coming in.
how nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, devotees. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gandharvika.
Gandharvika. Okay, what's the question?
Question I missed. So actually this.
Yes, we have a question here in the live studio audience.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I wanted to ask, I wanted to actually reflect a point that you made that I liked, which was that Srila Prabhupada enjoyed chanting these shlokas glorifying Krishna, and by doing so, he would awaken people to Krishna's pastimes.
Yes. And I'd like everyone to notice that we have our very own Omkar right here in Silicon Valley in the live studio audience. Not every day you get Omkar down here, so it's a big deal. So Omkar Prabhu reacted to the section where I was talking about the ways in which when Srila Prabhupada came and introduced the Bhagavatam, he sat and he delivered the message. He spoke Bhagavatam. And the devotees who were uneducated in Bhagavatam, had not heard it before, then were touched by the waves of sound coming from his lotus mouth. This is mentioned by Prithu Maharaj when he says, and you can look this verse up, look it up, Saffron Mercy Particle verse. And he mentions that when a pure devotee speaks, there's a way in which the sound vibration is unusual. And here's how it's described. The vibration coming from the mouth of a pure devotee touches Krishna's lotus feet. Thereupon, the saffron mercy particles from the lotus feet of the Lord are discharged, and they mix with the sound vibration. So when the sound vibration reaches us, it touches us in a way that is noticeably unusual. Here it is. My dear Lord, sa uttama shloka mahan mukya chuto bhavat padam bhoja sudha kananila smritim punar vismrita tattva vartmanam kuyoginam no vitaratyalam varai. And the translation is, my dear Lord, Prithu Maharaj is speaking, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers its eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. Oh, this is so nice. When one has this mood that this is all I need in life is to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee, this is perfection. This means one's making advancement in the process of devotional service. When you're moved viscerally by hearing the vibration of the Bhagavatam, you're advancing in devotional service. When you're eager to hear more Bhagavatam and you're intrigued by Krishna's pastimes, this is advancement in devotional service. And when one comes, mad guna shruti matrena mai sarva guhashaye manogatir avichina yata gangan mata busa. I'm sorry. Yata gangang basau budao. This verse is in a series of verses spoken by Kapila. Kapila Dev describes how one may be performing devotional service but may be affected by ignorance. Performing devotional service but may be affected by rajas, passion. Performing devotional service but may still be affected by goodness. And then he describes what it is when one is not affected by any of the modes and is performing devotional service. That is devotional service which is above the modes of material nature. What does it look like? He says, Madguna Matrena, say it. Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashe. So what this means is Madguna Shruti Matrena, as soon as one hears the Bhagavatam, Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye, then immediately the mind becomes attracted. Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatir Avichina Yata Gangam Basam Budao. Means just as the Ganges is flowing down and it's headed towards the ocean, it can't be stopped. In a similar way, the mind, which is unfettered by the lower modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, and is transcendentalized, after hearing the Bhagavatam for some time, as soon as it hears the Bhagavatam, it runs after it. It becomes completely enthralled, enraptured in hearing the Bhagavatam. So this is described by this verse, Sa Uttama Shloka Mahan Mukta Chuto. So the Lord's name is Uttama Shloka because he's glorified by these beautiful verses, the best of all verses. And the devotees, the Mahats, Mukya Chuta. Chuta means falling down. So it's Mukya Chuta, it's falling from their mouth. Mukya Chuta, it's delivered from the mouths. Bhavat, speaking of the Lord. Pada Ambuja, from the lotus feet. Shuddha, nectar. Kana, particles. Anila, soothing breeze. Smritam, remembrance. So they forget about the material world. They realize the truth of the world and keep going down. Tattva, Vartmanam, Kuyoginam, even people not in the line of devotional service. Keep going all the way, please. It is explained in the previous verse that one has to hear glorification of the Lord from the mouth of a pure devotee. This is further explained here. The transcendental vibration from the mouth of a pure devotee is so powerful that it can revive the living entity's memory of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our material existence, under the influence of illusory Maya, we have almost forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord, exactly like a man sleeping very deeply who forgets his duties. In the Vedas, do you like that? That particular analogy? Like a man who's sleeping and forgot about his duties. And I wake up. In the Vedas, it is said that every one of us is sleeping under the influence of Maya. We must get up from this slumber and engage in the right service, for thus we can properly utilize the facility of this human form of life. As expressed in a song by Thakur Bhaktivinoda, Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. The living entity the Lord asks every sleeping living entity to get up and engage in devotional service so that his mission in this human form of life may be fulfilled. This awakening voice comes through the mouth of a pure devotee. A pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet, and therefore he has a direct connection with the saffron mercy particles that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. Although when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of this material sky. The voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as a sleeping living entity hears the powerful voice emanating from the mouth of a pure devotee, he immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord, although up until that moment he had forgotten everything. Doesn't that describe that scene? Prabhupada speaking Bhagavatam, and from the pitch of his voice, the sound of it wakes one up. And you start to think, I like this. This is beautiful. Oh, I forgot. I should be serving. For a conditioned soul, therefore, it is very important to hear from the mouth of a pure devotee who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord without any material desires, speculative knowledge, or contamination of the modes of material nature. Every one of us is a ku-yogi because we have engaged in the service of this material world, forgetting our eternal relationship with the Lord as His eternal loving servants. It is our duty to rise from the ku-yogi platform to become su-yogis, perfect mystics. The process of hearing from a pure devotee is recommended in all Vedic scriptures, especially by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One may stay in his position of life, it does not matter what it is, but if one hears from the mouth of a pure devotee, he gradually comes to the understanding of his relationship with the Lord and thus engages in his loving service, and his life becomes completely perfect. Therefore, this process of hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee is very important for making progress in the line of spiritual understanding. Yes, Radhakripa Prabhu. And we've got more online. Questions coming in online. And then we have more in the front row from Avantika.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was just reflecting on the whole day today. There is in a Bay Area, everybody is working from home. And every 5, 10, or 20 minutes, you are reminding there is something really big going outside. And even if you wanted to forget, you are still trapped in, whether in a meeting, the discussion is all about virus. But whether you are opening your laptop, there is a health provider is giving you some update. All across, everybody is talking about. But what I felt like is so relieved that in like almost like the last 90 minutes, I have no idea that there is a virus going on outside. And I could feel like when you transported us to the Krishna's Leela in Agasuras, I could feel like, wow, that is so sweet. And it's not practically possible in this timeline when the whole world is totally in a fearful stage where the mind can be pacified in enjoying the pastime of Lord Krishna. But we have to hear from a pure devotee. So we are superly blessed to hear that. I just want to thank you for that.
Hare Krishna. Yes, the world needs more Hare Krishna and less virus katha. Virus katha is not recommended because it's not satisfying to self, and you can't even see the little critters. They're just like nondescript. And the technique used by the residents of Vrindavan is to call out for Krishna. They're always in some kind of danger. There's poison that comes in Keshi Ghat. Now Keshi spewed his poison into the Ghat, so much so that, Kaliya Ghat. So much so the poison went into Kaliya Ghat that even the birds flying over, they would drop dead. The fumes were coming up. And anyone who went there and drank from the water, they would drop dead because of Kaliya. And then the cowherd boys who had gone there to water their cows had also drank the water. The calves and the boys, they were poisoned by the water. And then Krishna decided to go in to challenge Kaliya in the lake. So he went up on the kandama tree. He tightened his belt. He flapped his arms like a wrestler, and he jumped into the water. And when he jumped into the water, even though he's just a little child, he's only 5 years old, he jumps in, but there's this huge wave that hits the water because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heaviest of all heavy objects. And then he starts to splash around in the water just to agitate Kaliya, because he knows that the Kaliya is puffed up and he's full of this envious poison, and he thinks, this is my Ghat. Nobody else can come here. So Krishna starts to swim and do all these movements in the water just to agitate his mind. So Kaliya then swoops down to fight with him. But Krishna, he's the best of all dancers. He jumps up onto the hoods of Kaliya multiple hoods, and he starts to move around. But Kaliya then grabs him and holds him in his coils. So here's this monstrous-looking snake, and there's this tender child who everyone's in love with, and he's being held in the coils of Kaliya. Meanwhile, there are omens that are appearing in Vrindavan that start to make Yashoda and all the devotees back at home who are celebrating one of the titis for Lord Balaram's birthday. He's not there at first. So they start to notice something's wrong. Something must have happened to Krishna. So they start heading down to Kaliya Ghat. And when they get down there, they see Krishna in the coils of Kaliya. And they faint because their beloved Krishna is there captured by this huge monster. And some of the coward men start to push their way to go into the water to save him. But Balaram, with a smile on his face, holds them back because he knows what Krishna is doing. He's increasing the affection of the devotees for him as he's being held in this suspense. He's holding them in suspense as he's being held by Kaliya. They don't know what's going to happen. It seems so dangerous to them that their life and soul Krishna is in the coils of this monster. Isn't that scary? So Krishna then breaks free from Kaliya and begins his dance on the heads of Kaliya, pounding each one. As Kaliya reaches up to bite him, he jumps on the next hood, and he's exhausting the beast, knocking the poison out of him. And finally, Kaliya comes to complete submission. And then the wives of Kaliya come, and they begin to offer the most beautiful prayers to the Lord. And they admit that their husband acted inappropriately. And when they saw that he had become submissive to Krishna, they became very happy. And they begin to speak on behalf of their husband that now you've purified him. You've knocked out all the poison with your lotus feet. And now he's become submissive. Please give him your mercy. And so, yes.
Questions and many people join, so I'm just taking their names. Sumati Mataji from Santa Cruz joined us.
Haribo.
Allarupa Prabhu, Kunjari and Kumari Lila Mataji, Gandharvika Mataji, Prasanna Prabhu, Nilisha Mataji, Danwari Mataji from San Diego, Ujjwala Rasha Mataji, Tanvi joined from DC, Srivats, Rajesh Prabhu from Folsom, Asong Narang Prabhu, and Chakri Prabhu, Chakri Das.
Chakri Prabhu, Haribo.
He has some question.
St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis, okay. So he has some question that, Maharaj, when you said that a devotee takes his birth where Krishna is performing his pastime, isn't this now Krishna's pastime? So why do we have to born again?
You got to get trained up. Because just like when you come to the temple, you walk in and it takes a little while to get trained up how to do service. And then you learn the devotional arts and skills. You'd go in and you'd learn from Krishnangi how to make garlands and stuff like that. You learn from Ramananda Saka how to approach the deity properly and worship the deity and so forth. So there's in those who are entering into Goloka Vrindavan, there's a process of worshiping Krishna in Ragatmika Bhakti. It's a very spontaneous way of worshiping Krishna. When you get into a group, there's an adjustment period. You have to get trained up in that. So the devotee takes birth in that atmosphere where Krishna is already there, and they're devotees in the right mood. They're performing devotional service, and the devotee attaches himself to one of those devotees and begins to get fully trained up in the mood of worshiping Krishna like that and particular service. So then, in the next life, that devotee will then be transported to the spiritual world. I mean, arguably, it already is the spiritual world, because wherever Krishna's pastimes are going on, there's no difference. In fact, the earthly pastimes of Krishna, when he's performing his pastimes in the material world, they're considered to be even more sweet because there are other features. His childhood pastimes are there, and also you find the killing of many demons. And I was mentioning Kaliya because there are these dangerous situations, And the devotees always take shelter of Krishna. They just think, Krishna, save us. Of course, Prahlad Maharaj mentions, Balasya neha sharanam pitaro nashingha nartasya chaganam udhanvati majatono tasya tat pratividir yarihanjasheshtas tavad bibo tanubritam twanupekshitam. You still remember? Shrutidar. So there's this way in which Prahlad Maharaj says, yeah, there's all these anomalies here in the material world. And you try to overcome them, but you really can't until Krishna gives his sanction. And if you realize that you do the best you can in any kind of dangerous situation, like a drowning man, you try to save him, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have a great boat, you're going to save him. And just because somebody's sick doesn't mean the medicine's going to work. It can work or it cannot work. And it doesn't mean that you want to protect a child with all your heart, but it doesn't mean you can protect the child. But you try the best of your ability, but you should always keep in mind, Prahlad Maharaj says, that everything's going on ultimately under the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so one should carry this mood. Do your level best, but don't freak out. Just depend on Krishna. So what was the question?
Why he has to take birth again, where Krishna is performing.
Oh yeah, sure. So I answered that.
Yes. So second question is from Prasanna Sundarajan Prabhu.
Prasanna Sunya Rajana.
Yeah, he's
what a beautiful name is that?
Yeah, temple congregation.
Such people walking around the earth planet at this time. Yes.
Question with reference to Isopanishad verse 6.
Yes.
The verse talks about pure devotee, not hating anything or any being. Does this apply to not hating any situation as well? Or does this apply only to living and non-living beings?
Why, is there some situation you don't like? So, yeah, devotees don't hate any situation. This is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. It said that Tulya Darshana, the devotees are equal in their vision, because whether they're in Naraka, or they're in hell, and whether they're in heaven. Narayana parak sarve na kutaschana bhibhiti swarga pavarga narakeshu api tulyarta darshana. Tulya, they're equal in any situation, because why? They're in it for the service of Krishna. And therefore, they can extract. It's just like a person who's an expert business person can make money whether the stock market's going up or down. That's a good one for now. Yeah. It can make money going up or going down. And similarly, the devotee observes the environment and says, there's service in this. I can, whether it's hell or whether it's heaven. Just like there was a shoe company, and they were trying to expand their shoe product all over the world. So they sent one of their best salesmen to this place, this remote place in Africa. Or maybe it was Australia. And he got there off the little plane. He had to take several flights to get to this remote place. And they got a phone call from him back, and he said, you guys must really hate me back there in the head office. And they said, why? And he goes, you sent me to the worst place in the world. I said, what's the matter? He said, nobody wears shoes down here. So the guy said, I quit. And then, so they said, well, we got to get that part of the world somehow or other. So get this new guy. So they sent him down there, and he went down and he landed. A few weeks later, he gets off, and they get a phone call, and they think, uh-oh, he's calling. And he says, I can't believe it. You guys must love me. You gave me the best place on earth. They said, what's the matter? I mean, why do you say that? He said, nobody wears shoes here. It's completely wide open. So the devotee sees the opportunity to spread Krishna consciousness, whether it's a severe situation or not, and takes advantage of that and is drinking the nectar. Prabhu, you had a point or a question.
Prabhuji, on the same verse, you mentioned about the pure devotee. I was wondering, what are the indicators of a pure devotee? How do you identify one pure devotee?
How to identify a pure devotee?
Yeah.
Well, there are many different identifiers. There's two, though, that are very noticeable. That one is steadiness in the process of devotional service. That there's no wavering in any circumstance, the devotee is always there. This is one of the things that can't be faked. Because if you can't fake steadiness, you either show up or you don't. And the other one is called Mukhya Prasada, which means that you can tell from the vibration that comes from the person's mouth. And in all circumstances, the vibration is uplifting devotionally. And is the person, because the person within their heart, they're pure, the words that come out are also purifying. So these are two things that can't be faked. And they're good indicators of somebody who's pure. Notice what they say, and notice if they're steady in the process of devotional service. Avantika.
One of the points I liked that you said towards the beginning of the class was that the amount of material happiness and distress in our life is already fixed for us.
Yes.
So there's no point in trying to be more materially happy, and instead we should focus our time spiritually.
Yes.
And then the other...
What attracted you to that? Why did that pique your interest?
Because there's so many times I'll try to do things that will make me more materially happy or more happy in the moment, but I need to realize that instead of doing that, I should focus on spiritual things.
Okay, well, I only ever see you here at the temple, so I think you're doing a pretty good job.
And
yes,
then,
what else?
I also like the analogy you gave about how human life is like grapefruit juice inside different glasses.
Yes.
It can either be gold, silver, or stone,
yes.
brass. And then I like that because it just shows that no matter what situation you are in, human life is always miserable.
Yeah, you dress it up or dress it down, but it's the same thing. Prahlad Maharaj said, Punak punas charvita charvanarnam. He said, the material happiness is chewing the chewed. It's already been done. You've already tried it, but then it's try it again. But make it different wrapper, different, color, slightly different flavor, mix it up. But it's the same things over and over and over again. It's all been done and more. And it doesn't get any better. It's all the same kind of thing. But spiritual happiness is different. It's ever increasing. Different levels of happiness in the world. So these are good observations. These are good bases for which to organize your life. Priya Kishori's got one, and then back to the internet.
Prabhu, when you were reading this verse, I really liked how you, in general, in verses, we go over the word for word. And sometimes while reading Prabhupada's books, I used to enjoy the Sanskrit because it's easy, it's melodious, it's phonetically easy to remember. But I've been paying more attention to the word for word, and I realized how a lot of philosophical debates back then came because of interpretations of Sanskrit, and how Prabhupada establishes what is the real meaning through these words.
Yeah.
And also along the lines of establishing that, back then when Bhagavatam was spoken, there was no microphone, there was no ability for everyone to hear, but now we don't have to go to a program once in a week. We have Prabhupada on a tape or something. And more than any time in history right now, we have the opportunity to center our lives around hearing. So we always have access to those saffron sound particles.
Yes, that's correct. So take advantage when the market's going up or the market's going down. Take advantage. Because throughout one's lifetime, there are always going to be various events that take place. There's an illusory idea that sometimes the world's safe and sometimes it's not safe. That's an illusory idea. In fact, at every moment, the Bhagavatam says we're in danger. Padam padam yadvi padam natesham. So Bhagavatam says, Samashrita ye padapallava plavam mahatpanam punya yasho marare vavam mudir vatsa padam param padam 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 yadvi padam natesham. Another Prabhupada would relish these verses. They roll off his tongue, and again the waves would come through the room, and the saffron particles are sticking to everybody. And that's why they started to feel, let's see, 240. Haribo! All glories to the devotees online watching. We will defeat Maya through hearing Bhagavatam, discussing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and chanting the holy name. Maya means that I become absorbed in duality, and I think there's something other than Krishna out there. And I was saying that this idea that the world is safe at some times and unsafe at other times is illusory. It's always a dangerous place at every step. You can't say that it's now we've got everything contained and under control. Again, back to Prahlad Maharaj, not that we throw caution to the wind. We have to be careful walking through the world, do our level best to be methodical when we deal with material life. Don't mess around. Be careful, but be dispassionate when it comes to material contact, because don't touch your face. Anybody? I just saw somebody touch their face. So, like that, be very careful, but be methodical, but be dispassionate. You don't have to absorb yourself in it. You can divert your attention to chanting and praying to Krishna, just like the devotees in Vrindavan do. They take full shelter of Krishna. So you can only relieve the anxiety you feel from the pressure of the world through the process of chanting Hare Krishna. It's the only way. So try it and see what happens. Die to the world anyway. Just say, hey, it's a lost cause anyway. So it's die to live. It's an opportunity when Krishna arranges for there to be a pressurized situation. You're in luck, because you can increase your devotional practice and your dependence on Him. You become more aware of it. In fact, this is one of the main points that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes in the Bhagavatam when he starts to describe the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Was Vrindavan in Gokula, on this earth, Boma Vrindavan, before Krishna appeared? Was it just peaceful and there were no problems? Absolutely not. It was the most... It's scary reading that part. It is absolutely scary. It's hair-raising. Kamsa was a beast. He wanted to kill his own sister on the chariot. And now he has all the government behind him. And he wants to wreck anything that has to do with devotional service. And just spoil the world. Have more coal burning to, make the air worse. Exalt the demons and say, you're great. Cut down all the trees. The hell with the earth. This is, I'm not describing anything current, am I? I'm talking about Kamsa. And he wanted to kill Krishna. And he had government men out going door to door looking, where is Krishna? We're going to kill him. It was scary. It was very surcharged. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the fear that Mother Devaki had for her child Krishna, for protecting him, it was so purifying. So the material world is a fearful place, but our refuge is taking shelter of Krishna and saying, Krishna, help me. Put your hands up. O Govinda. Just take shelter of Krishna and say, O Govinda, please save me. And whatever you do with me, Krishna, whether you keep me, whether you kill me, it doesn't matter, as long as I'm under your protection. We can't save ourselves here in the material world. We're just passing through. It's a temporary place, and things come and go. But if we take shelter of Krishna, our life becomes sublime. So this is the atmosphere of the material world all the time. Sometimes we realize it and sometimes we don't. I was once living in the Goshala in Vrindavan, and we were driving to Govardhan Hill every morning to do our parikrama. And we had an beat-up old ambassador. And my friend Prem Kishore was driving. Big mistake. If you're listening, Prem. And we had about 7 devotees in the car, and we were looking for a gas station. It was foggy. The windshield was like, you couldn't see anything. And there you have a Vrindavan road, and there was a barricade in the middle of the road made out of cement there was no reflector on it or anything like that. And all I heard was Savas was in the car, and he goes, watch out! And then bang, we just slammed right into it. Fortunately, we weren't going super fast, but it was enough that all of us, some hit the windshield in the front, and we were really jostled really hard. And in the dark, I didn't know, someone said to me, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I don't know." I don't know if I'm all right. But for months afterwards, I would look at a car and I go like, I don't want to get in there. I was just thinking, I don't want to touch this car. I know what cars are. But after a while, it's like, well, I'm not completely healed. Anyone who drives me around knows that I'm a backseat driver. But in any case, I was totally aware of the danger of cars and acutely aware, I should say, of the danger. And it was actually visceral. I didn't want to get in. And so the material world's always like that. But sometimes we become aware of it and we become acutely aware. So there's a remedy for this. Thank goodness. And that is to methodically do what you have to do in the material world to protect your body, but then take full shelter of Krishna. It's the opportunity. And you take full shelter of Krishna and say, Krishna, if you want to keep me or do anything with me, it's okay. I'm taking full shelter of you. I'm in your hands. And if you do that, you'll feel relief. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, that same atmosphere of the material world is always going to follow us. Prabhupada writes in the purport to his Bhagavad Gita that we're always being stalked by the tigress of nescience, of Maya. And like she's around any corner for us. So there's only one solution, and that's to take shelter of Krishna. We have a last question to answer.
Balimardan Prabhu. Why Chaitanya?
Who's it from?
Balimardan Prabhu.
From Bali Mardan, our very own Bali Mardan Prabhu.
Why Chaitanya exhibited so many forms, more than Krishna even? 4 hands, 8 hands, 6 hands, and Varaha, etc. Any explanation will be greatly appreciated.
Well, that's actually explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that all of the forms in which Krishna appears are to reciprocate with his loving devotees. So that's a generic principle, that whenever he displays his pastimes, and like as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an example, so with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he showed the 6 hands. Now Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he also showed, as Chaitanya Bhagavat says, he showed his Narayan form first. Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a confirmed Mayavadi, and then he was arguing with Mahaprabhu, or he was trying to teach him at first, and let's get you up to speed on what's going on in the spiritual literatures. And Mahaprabhu just sat and listened for 7 days, didn't say a word. Then Sarvabhauma said, you got any questions? I was like, any comments? Usually my students ask something or they have a comment, and do you understand this? He said, yeah, I understand it perfectly, but your explanations are ruining everything. And he was shocked. And then they got into the discussion on the Atmarama verse, and then Sarvabhauma's mind was changed. There was a point at which he goes, oh, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya revealed himself. Then he showed his Narayan form. Before that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had been saying, so you're a young man, you're 24 years old, why you took sannyas? Not a very good idea. You take sannyas, everyone bows down to you, and you start thinking, well, I'm really something. And then he said, your spiritual life is finished. So he said, and so young, so beautiful, you took sannyas. And so he had been admonishing him like that earlier on. And now when he starts to realize this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Mahaprabhu shows him multiple arm form. And then in Chaitanya Bhagavat, through the pen of Vrindavan Das Thakur, Mahaprabhu says, do you still think I'm not qualified for sannyas? He showed him some opulence there to impress his mind. And then he showed the form of Satbhuj, which is glorified by the acharyas in the verse which says, Tyaktva sadusya jasa repsita raja lakshman dharmishta arya vachasa vachat. It's not my night. Tyaktva sadusya jasa repsita raja lakshman dharmishta arya vachasa vachasad aranyam. Mayamragam dayita ipsita manvadavad vande mahapurushate charanadavindam. Sorry, I'm mangling verses left and right, but it'll have to do for now. And therein, there's a description of how of the different forms of the Lord in this verse that are there in Sadbhuj. So there he was showing how, yes, I'm appearing in this form as a sannyasi, a devotee, but actually I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the manifestation of Ramachandra, Lord Krishna, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu holding the danda. So he was impressing upon his devotee, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And that beautiful form of Sadbhuj was painted on the wall there for a while until someone came along and wrecked it. Sorry, pet peeve of mine. Well, we're really out of time, and it's time for the Artik. Any last comments?
You have questions? Danvari Mataji has some question, and should I ask?
Well, what is it?
So she has question that, my question is, do all the siddhas depend on Krishna's mercy? Why only Kripa siddhas?
Do all the what? Siddhas?
Siddhas. I think you are explaining 3 siddhas.
Yeah.
So why only Kripa siddhas get mercy of Krishna? How did other siddhas like Mukta and Nitya siddhas came at this stage?
The sadhana siddhas?
Yeah.
The sadhana siddhas, through their diligence in worshiping Krishna through the sadhana, they make gradual advancement and become fully perfect by the process of sadhana. And
the Nitya siddhas, how they became perfect? Nitya
they're
siddhas.
always perfect. That's what nitya means. And when you become perfect from your practice or from getting kripa, then you'll also be a nitya siddha. Because we are eternal. And there's no distinction between siddhas. Once one becomes siddha, siddha is a siddha. So you don't have to then, although there's some demarcation here in the material world through the process, but once one's perfect, then one's perfect eternally. So we're eternal souls. We're never actually separated from Krishna, but while we're in the material world, we have this idea that we're separate, and therefore there's fear. So don't be afraid. Just call out to Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us online. And please spread this knowledge of Krishna and the holy names and take it yourself. Don't take no for an answer. Maya presents all these kind of ideas, but just take shelter of Krishna and do your due diligence in the material world. Whatever happens, you just do whatever you have to do. That's methodical. And be dispassionate about the material world because it moves the way it moves. What's done is done. You can't worry about it. But what you can worry about is how many times I'm going to say Hare Krishna today. How many mantras am I going to chant? How many Bhagavatam shlokas am I going to hear? Take shelter and you'll be happy and you'll rise above any kind of fear in the material world. Don't be afraid, okay? Everyone say Hare Krishna. Gaur Premananda in the back, Hare Krishna. These great souls just walked in. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming to ISV. Thanks for joining us online. We're going to keep the vibration going one way or another. We don't care what anybody says or whatever's going on in the material world. We're going to keep the vibration of the Bhagavatam going, and it's going to keep coming out of ISV, and from every house, you keep it going louder than you ever did before, okay? Come on. And if you're at home, you go to somebody in the house now or open your window of your car and you say Hare Krishna to somebody. They need it, okay? When I say 3, everybody at home or in your car, wherever you are, you got to tell somebody. If it's your cat, you tell Hare Krishna. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpadrishcha kripasnabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantakoti vaishnaviniki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.